Hi there, my name is April Sawtell and welcome to my channel. Today what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to take my jeans and I want to put a flare leg or a bell bottom in it. They're very straight leg and I just don't want that, and they're long. I want to cut them and make them into crop pants. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to cut this off, I'm going to give it a nice wide hem at the bottom, and I'm going to use these pants that I don't like. I like the color of them, but I just don't like, they're a little too heavy. So I'm going to take and cut my V's out of this. I am going to save the bottoms of these for another project because I do like these bottoms. Usually what I do with my jeans is I'll just cut the bottoms off because they're always a little bit too long. But these ones have the actual hem and they're just frayed, and I like that look too. But I'll save that part, and I'll cut my V's that I'm going to be using for my bell bottoms right out of this, the top half of these. All you're going to need for this project, I've got some pins, I've got a tape measure, I've got a pen, rotary cutter, scissors, I've got a seam guide here, I've got some seamstress chalk, I've got a straight ruler here, the large one, my iron, and my ironing mat. Okay, let's get started. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut the bottoms right off these pants here. And I'm going to save these for some other project. Whether they go into a scrappy quilt or I use these for the bottoms of some other pair of jeans. So I'll keep these set aside for some other day. So for what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to cut this inside seam. I'm just opening these up. I'll cut this seam right here, going up the back. I'm going to cut this right across here. Let's see what that gives me. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take from the crotch to the bottom, and that's 27 inches. I want these to be short. I'm going to go ahead and just cut this up to 24 inches. Just cut that straight across. Because when I give this a big 1.5 inch hem, I want this to come out at about 22 and a half inches. That's where I want it to fall on my leg. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make a mark here at 26 inches so I can cut that right off there. So I'll make this mark. I'll use my chalk here. I'm going to do that to both pieces, both legs. So I'm going to make a line here. That will be my cut line. So what I'll do here now is I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off. I'm cutting this hem off and everything because I'm going to give this a whole new hem when I'm done. I want a really wide, chunky hem. So I'll cut that there. And now what I'm going to do, just make sure these are nice and straight. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off using this hem. I might pop a pin right there to hold that in place. And I'm going to cut right across there. So now I've made them shorter. And remember, I'm giving this a really wide hem. So when I'm done, it's going to be about that wide. So I'm just going to start here and see where this takes it. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn this and I'm just going to go ahead and cut on the outside of the pants. So I'm going to cut right along this seam. And I don't want to really cut that actual seam. I'm going to turn these inside out while I do it so I can see where I'm at. I'm going to cut up about 14 inches. So I should probably lay this out so I know when I'm at my 14 inches. So there, that leg will be open. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to go to the outside and I'm going to cut that up 14 inches. Just go right up to there. I've cut cut this line up 13. I want it to be 13.5 inches. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to measure how wide this is. So this is 12 inches. Just to make myself straight here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a line. I did 10 inches all the way from the seam out. And I wanted it so I could get a nice straight cut here. So let me just show you. Let me make my straight line here on all these lines I've made. Okay, there's my 10 inches. This part won't be straight. I just took my ruler and I marked down 10 inches all the way down. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back over to this side and do the same thing. I'm going to cut 10 inches. That was just to give me a nice straight rectangle for now. So I've got this line to go off. And I'm just going to mark 10 inches all the way down so it keeps me nice and straight. And now I'll just make a straight line on all those lines. This way. I'll cut that right there. And I'll cut this right on all those lines. All right, and I'll save all these for scrap quilts, all the extra pieces. And it looks like I could just square this edge off a little bit. And I'm going to spin it around and just make sure I'm good and straight here too. So come down, and it's a little bit off, so I'll clean that right up. So I'm going to make another one at that same size. And what I'll do, I'll just line this one up. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this one out of here. So now I've gone and I've cut these pieces of jean to be equal sizes. I've got 2 pieces here, and mine are going to measure 13.5 inches long by 10 inches wide. That's going to allow me to have a flare 10 inches wide, and then we've got to account for seam allowance and a nice wide hem when we're done. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these in half, and I'm going to make the mark here, finger pressing it. That's going to give me the middle. Then I'm going to go this direction, fold it in half, finger press it, and that will give me that mark. So here's the center. Okay, now I need to go and I need to make, from this line here, I'm going to make from that point to here, whatever that equals. I want to put my ruler right on the center. Okay, do you see what I mean? Right here is my centers. Put that there and come right down to this point. This is going to allow me to draw a perfect triangle here. So from point to point. I know it's going to give me the 10 inches I want down here. And I can do this lining them, keeping them right on top of each other. That's not a problem. Okay, I'm going to do the same here. Point to point. Now I'm going to lay this open, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my new piece that I've cut. Now I've cut the bottoms off so I don't have to match anything here, because when I'm done I'm going to end up using this as my hem. So for now, let's start right up here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to start pinning. And what I want is I want the outside of the fabric to be I'm putting right sides together. So this is the right side of the inside out fabric, and I'm going to put this right side, and they're going to be matching. I'm going to keep this piece right on this seam. And then I'm going to do the same to this side. So this side doesn't have a seam, so you're just going to take that 2 raw edges here and touch them together. And then put your pins in. I might stick a couple of more pins in here just to hold it a little bit tighter. I've got orange thread in here, and I've got orange thread in my bobbin. So I'm going with the same color that they have here. Mine's a little bit brighter than their color, but I think it will work fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my needle in, and I'm going to back stitch a couple of times at the top of this is where my big V is, my big triangle. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm just going to give it a few back stitches right on that point. I really want to stay in about a 1/2 inch here, because I do not want the fabric from the seam showing through. So I'm going to try to stay in about a 1/2 inch as I'm coming down this V. What I really am doing here is I'm just following my finger, because I can feel the seam. I want to stay to the left of the seam as I'm going, just so it doesn't show through on the right side. And I'm just going to come all the way down straight, because remember, I cut the hem off. If I wouldn't have cut the hem off, I would have done something different. But because I did, I'm just going to come right off it. I'm going to add my hem later. I just want to open this up and see. Oh, that's going to look good. What I'm looking for right now is to make sure I don't have the seam popping through. So here a little bit I can see, I'm not sure if you can see that. I can see a little bit, but I'm okay with that. That's just thread. And make sure my point is all underneath. And it is. And I'm going to do a back stitch, and I'm coming right back up to that point. I'm going to touch it and back stitch a little bit there and break my thread. Okay, this is what it looks like right now. I've sewn my V on, and now I'm going to turn these right side in and see what they look like. Oh my gosh, are those cute? So here's what my flare is going to look like, or my bell bottom. All right, so now what I want to do is I need to hem these. And I want a big chunky hem. So that's absolutely perfect. I'm going to do the same to the other side. I'm going to give this a good press. I think that's absolutely adorable. So what I need to do is I want that straight across. And when I was doing my measurements and I had to keep finagling the length, it got a little bit off here, so that's okay. I'm just going to trim it all so it's all the same. There. Now it's nice and straight. I'm just going to give that a little fold. It will fall naturally. And I'm just going to give that a little press. As thin as I can, because I'm going to give it another roll. And I'm going to press that down with steam. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give this another big fold. So I want a 1.5 inch hem. And that, I'll put my seam guide right to that 1.5 inch. And I am going to put a clip right here, because I want these two edges to match up, because those are both seams. So we'll match that up. And then I'll give that a little pull here. And what I'm going to try to do is stay at the 1.5 inch seam allowance. And I'll stick a few clips in every once in a while just to kind of hold this in place. I'm going to put my presser foot right here on the edge of my hem. I'm going to put my needle down right in the seam. That way I'm going to line right up on this seam. That's what my goal is. I'm going to go ahead and give a couple of stitches and then back stitch. And I'll back stitch a couple of times there. All right, and I want to make sure that I'm opened up here so I do not, get the bottom underneath. All right, and all I'm going to do is keep my presser foot right here along this edge. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to press this whole V opened. After you've put the lace on, just go ahead and press that all down. Orange thread here, I decided I would go ahead and I would put some lace over this. So I'm not going to advise you to use orange thread. I did do that thinking that it would match because there was orange all over the jeans. But I did learn I probably wouldn't do that again. I'd probably match up more of the color that you're sewing. So I just added a little bit of lace here. I think it looks really cute. I like it. Let's go ahead and give this a press. And you can open those seams right up. Press that lace down. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Remember to keep it simple. Have a nice day. Thanks for watching. Bye.